Chapter 186. Devour. Lu Ming controlled his bloodline with all his might and devoured the tearing force. The terrifying devouring force covered his entire body and prevented him from exploding from the beast soul's power. However, after a series of battles, Lu Ming's body was still severely injured. The rumbling continued as the sun and moon reflected each other in the sky. Everyone's eyes were fixed on the two young men in the sky. The two deans of the White Tiger Hall and Vermilion Bird Hall were confronting each other, and no one could interfere. Swoosh! Swoosh! In the sky, there were flashes of light as silver-robed elders appeared one after another. At first, it was the silver-robed elders of the White Tiger Hall. Soon, the silver-robed elders of the Vermilion Bird Hall, Azure Dragon Hall, and Black Tortoise Hall appeared in the sky. There were more than 20 silver-robed elders of the four halls. Boom! At this moment, the sun and moon in the sky suddenly collapsed and dissipated into energy. Kill! Kill! The two of them roared in unison as their killing intent surged like a tide and pounced towards each other. The saber aura and spear aura swept across the sky and tore through the air. The two of them continued to fight in the sky and the battle was extremely intense. Below, Lu Yao looked at the sky in a daze as her eyes were filled with disbelief. Lu Ming, the previously weak and sickly trash who couldn't cultivate, had actually grown to this stage? She couldn't accept it and couldn't accept it. He's just relying on external forces. He can't be compared to Brother Lin. Brother Lin is 100 times, no 1,000 times stronger than him. Lu Yao kept reminding herself in her heart. Lu Ming. Senior brother Lu Ming. At this moment Mulan's Feng Wu Pangshi and the rest rushed over. Soon after, more people rushed over after receiving the news. For example, Zhang Muyun, Duangang and the rest. After rushing over, they stood at the side and looked at the sky in shock. In the sky, Lu Ming and Duan Mulin had exchanged more than 100 blows, but it was still difficult to determine the victor. Let's attack together and kill that little bastard Lu Ming. He killed dozens of our Duanmu clan's experts. A silver-robed elder of the Duanmu clan roared. Who dares? Yin Lan shouted as his sword aura soared into the sky. The other silver-robed elders of the Vermilion Bird Courtyard also unleashed their auras and rushed forward. Yin Lan, Lu Ming massacred the elders of the same sect. How dare you shield him? Duanmu Pajuan shouted loudly. We haven't figured out the cause of this matter yet. I believe that Lu Ming wouldn't do such a thing casually. There must be a reason behind it. Yin Lan didn't give in at all. I don't care what the reason is. It's a fact that Lu Ming massacred his fellow disciples. It's a fact that he killed my Duanmu clan. That's enough. He must die today. Duanmu Pajuan's voice was incomparably cold. Then why don't you try? Yin Lan coldly shouted. Both sides faced each other, and it seemed like an intense battle was about to break out. Enough! At this moment, a calm voice sounded from the depths of the Mystic Essence Sword Sect. Sect leader. The expressions of Yin Lan, Duanmu Pajuan, and those silver-robed elders changed. Whoosh! Whoosh! For beams of light tore through the void and appeared above the square in an instant. For figures emerged. The person in the lead was the Mystic Essence Sword Sect master, Lin Shui. Behind him were 3 old men in golden robes. They were all golden-robed elders. The moment the Mystic Essence Sword Sect master appeared, he frowned and waved his hand. A gentle force was generated and surged towards Lu Ming and Duan Mulin who were fighting. Their attacks dissipated into nothingness, and their bodies seemed to be pushed back by something, retreating backwards. Sect leader, please don't stop me. Let me kill this bastard. Duan Mulin roared and his body was filled with killing intent. You're an arrogant and self-righteous piece of trash. Do you think I'm afraid of you? It's not certain who will kill who. Do you really think you're a genius? In my eyes, you're just a piece of trash. Lu Ming coldly retorted. Bastard, smash it. I'm going to kill you. Duan Mulin roared. Enough. The Mystic Essence Sword Sect leader shouted again. This shout didn't seem heavy, but it reverberated in Lu Ming and Duan Mulin's ears like thunder. Their expressions changed and they didn't say anything. Sect leader, you've come at the right time. Lu Ming, this bastard, first killed dozens of people from the Duanmu clan. Then he dared to kill his way into the White Tiger Hall. In front of everyone, he killed dozens of martial grand masters and even the chief elder. Such a rebellious and crazy person must die. I beg the sect leader to let me kill him personally. Duanmupajuan bowed to the sect leader and said, Duanmupajuan, don't accuse me. I said, let's find out the reason first. Yinlan also cupped his fists and looked at Lu Ming and said, Lu Ming, tell me what is going on. Didn't you kill dozens of people from the Duanmu clan before? The before that Yinlan mentioned was obviously before they came to the White Tiger Hall. That's right. Lu Ming admitted it directly. Duanmupajuan was overjoyed and Yinlan was shocked. Mulins and the others revealed anxious expressions. Duanmupajuan said, Sect leader, look, Lu Ming admitted it himself. I did admit it, but why don't you ask me where I killed them? Lu Ming sneered. I don't care where you killed them. It's a fact that you killed people from the Duanmu clan. Haha. Lu Ming sneered and ignored Duanmupajuan. He said, it was in my clan, the Lu clan. Under the leadership of Lu Yunxiong, the people of the Duanmu clan slaughtered people from the Lu clan. They even wanted to kill my mother. Let me ask you, should these people be killed? Lu Ming didn't speak to the people of the Duanmu clan. Instead, he spoke to the other people from the four great halls and the sect leader. What? There was such a thing? Everyone was shocked and they all looked at Duanmupajuan. Damn it, Duanmupajuan, your Duanmu clan has such great power. You actually killed the family of a disciple without permission. You're worse than a beast. If it were me, I would also kill them. Yinlan's hair stood on end as he glared at Duanmupajuan. Nonsense, Lu Ming, you're talking nonsense. You slandered my Duanmu clan. You deserve to die. Duanmupajuan shouted angrily. Slandered? The corpses of your Duanmu clan disciples are still lying in my Lu clan. Do you want to go and take a look? Lu Ming mocked. Duanmupajuan's face was a little ugly as he said, even if there was such a thing, it's possible that they heard the rumors and were bewitched. You should have returned to the sect and reported the situation. The sect would naturally investigate. However, you acted on your own and killed them. Your intentions are terrible. Ha ha ha. After hearing this, Lu Ming laughed loudly. He then said, Duanmupajuan, what you mean is that you want me to ignore the life and death of my family first and let your Duanmu clan people kill my Lu clan people and kill my mother. Then, I will return to report to the sect and make a decision. Has your head been kicked by a donkey? Or is your IQ so low? Lu Ming's voice, which was filled with disdain, was like a storm that spread throughout the entire place. Everyone sucked in a breath of cold air. Lu Ming actually dared to scold Duanmupajuan? He said that Duanmupajuan's head had been kicked by a donkey? Wasn't he too daring? Little bastard, you, what did you say? Chapter 187. Ha ha, well scolded, well scolded. This old man's head has already been kicked by a donkey. Yinlan laughed. Sect leader, you have seen it too. This kid has no respect for his elders. It is obvious that his character is low. Letting him live in this world is a disaster. Today we must kill him. Duanmupajuan said to the sect leader. The sect leader of the Mystic Essence Sword sect frowned. Lu Ming was undoubtedly a top genius. How could he say that he wanted to kill him? However, if he didn't kill him, how could he explain to the Duanmu family? Sect leader, Lu Ming killed 35 martial master experts and 15 great martial masters from the White Tiger Yard. There was even a chief elder who was a 9th grade martial master. These people were all elites of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. They gave their all for the sect. Yet, they died in the hands of a junior disciple. If we don't kill Lu Ming, I'm afraid we will be disappointed. That's right. Sect leader, even if those people were wrong, the martial grandmasters behind them were just guarding the White Tiger Hall and protecting the sect. What wrong did they do? Yet, they were killed mercilessly. Lu Ming must be killed. Some of the silver-robed elders of the White Tiger Hall also stepped forward. The crowd couldn't help but look at the square. There were more than 10 corpses lying there. The blood had yet to dry. Yinlan frowned. It was reasonable for Lu Ming to kill those people who barged into the Lu family. However, it was hard to justify these people. They prevented me from killing the real culprit. I reminded them that they asked for it. Lu Ming said coldly. Haha, what a joke. Lu Ming, according to what you said, if the sect leader stopped you, would you kill the sect leader as well? Duanmupajuan laughed. Lu Ming frowned and didn't say anything. He couldn't refute this point. This matter was caused by your Duanmu family. Lu Ming was trying to protect his family and his mother. In a moment of desperation, he attacked too heavily. This is human nature. It is pardonable. He doesn't deserve to die. Yin Lan said. Yin Lan, are you sure you want to protect Lu Ming? Duanmu Pujuan said. That's right. Yin Lan was resolute and decisive. Then let's fight today. Let's see how long you can protect Lu Ming. Duanmu Pujuan roared. Boom! Duanmu Pujuan and Yin Lan's auras exploded as they clashed in the air. The sect leader frowned. Pujun, stop. An old voice sounded. Then, with a flash of golden light, a white-haired old man with a walking stick appeared in the air. This old man was wearing a golden robe. Clearly, he was a golden-robed elder. Father, why did you come out of seclusion? Seeing the old man, Duanmu Pujuan cried out in alarm. When the others heard this, they were all shocked. This person was actually Duanmu Pujuan's father? This is troublesome. Yin Lan muttered with a frown. Below, Mulin's eyes were filled with worry. Duanmu Pujuan's father, Duanmu Songhai, was the previous clan leader of the Duanmu family. He was also the previous dean of the White Tiger Hall. Although his current identity was a golden-robed elder of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, his cultivation was extremely terrifying. It was unfathomable and surpassed ordinary golden-robed elders. It was said that in recent years, he had been cultivating in seclusion in hopes of breaking through to the Supreme King realm. Unexpectedly, he came out of seclusion now. Greetings, old clan leader. Everyone from the Duanmu family stepped forward and bowed. Old Hai, why did you come out of seclusion? Did this matter need to alarm you? The sect leader's expression changed slightly before he smiled. Duanmu Songhai revealed a dry smile and said, Sect leader, if my old bones didn't come out for a walk, my Duanmu family would have been killed to the last man. The sect leader's expression changed slightly. He smiled and said, Old Hai, you're exaggerating. Why did you have to go to this extent? I've already heard about this matter. Firstly, my Duanmu family was also in the wrong. We were bewitched by others. However, Lu Ming was too ruthless. Not only did he kill them all, he even killed his way to the White Tiger Hall and killed more than 10 martial grandmasters. This matter cannot be forgotten. He can be spared from death, but he can't escape punishment. I suggest that he be expelled from the sect. Duanmu Songhai said. No way. Yin Lan took a step forward and firmly objected. This old man is so scheming. If we expel Lu Ming from the sect without the protection of the sect, they will definitely send people to kill Lu Ming. Mulin's eyes were filled with anxiety. Old Hai, Lu Ming has a young temperament and is easily impulsive. However, it is not necessary to expel him from the sect. The sect leader said. Haha, sect leader, it seems like you still cherish talents. However, you can also see that Lu Ming forcefully merged with the Demon King's soul. Even if he temporarily obtained strength, his foundation has been destroyed. He will no longer be a genius but a cripple. Duanmu Songhai smiled and said. The sect leader frowned and pondered. After all, the Duanmu family was at fault in this matter. Lu Ming was only taking revenge for his family. Many young disciples would definitely stand on Lu Ming's side. If they expelled Lu Ming from the sect like this, many disciples would be bitterly disappointed. Seeing the sect leader hesitate, Duanmu Songhai's expression gradually turned cold. He said slowly, Sect leader, my Duanmu family has been working hard for the Mystic Essence Sword sect for thousands of years. We have made countless contributions. Today, so many of our people were killed by a junior disciple. If you don't expel him from the sect, then let my Duanmu family leave. Boom! This sentence was like a thunderbolt that exploded in everyone's mind, causing a commotion. This was a blatant threat. Duanmu Songhai was using the entire Duanmu family to threaten the sect leader. Despicable, shameless. Peng Shi, Mulin's and the others growled. The sect leader's expression also changed greatly. He said solemnly, Old Hai, your words are too much. Although he said so, the sect leader had to take it seriously. In these years, the Duanmu family had become stronger and stronger. The entire White Tiger Hall had almost become their world. If they lost the Duanmu family, then the Mystic Essence Sword sect's vitality would be greatly damaged and their strength would weaken greatly. As the sect leader, he had to treat this seriously. Damn it, this old man. Yinlan clenched his fists. Duanmu and the other Duanmu family disciples sneered in their hearts. Let's see how Lu Ming will escape this calamity. After Duanmu Songhai finished speaking, a trace of scheming hung on the corner of his mouth. He narrowed his eyes slightly, waiting for the sect leader's answer. After pondering for a while, the sect leader took a deep breath. A bright light flashed in his eyes as he looked at Lu Ming and slowly said, Lu Ming, although there is a reason for this matter, you have gone overboard by killing more than 10 people from the White Tiger Hall. They were all from the same sect. This is a serious crime. The sect leader's dignified voice spread throughout the hall. Sect leader, you can't. Yinlan roared. Sect leader, Lu Ming avenged his family. What is wrong with that? What crime is there? Mulins also shouted. If that's the case, then the Duanmu family can kill our family in the future, and we can't take revenge. What kind of logic is this? Peng Shi also roared, his voice shaking the entire hall. Many disciples' eyes flickered. Obviously, they agreed with Peng Shi's words. Impudent, you dare to question the sect leader's decision. You are all guilty. Chapter 188. Duanmu, what are you shouting for? Are you going to attack a junior? Yinlan glared at Duanmu. Dean! Suddenly Lu Ming shouted. Yinlan looked at Lu Ming. The others also looked at Lu Ming. Lu Ming cupped his fists at Yinlan and said, Lu Ming thanks Dean for your help. Then Lu Ming looked at Mulins and the others and said, Senior Sister Mulins, Big Stone, Fangwu, you don't have to say more. I already understand this matter. After saying that, Lu Ming smiled indifferently. The sect leader's intention was clear. What he meant next was to expel him from the sect. I'm still not important enough. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Strength. Everything was still a matter of strength. He was too weak. If he was extremely powerful and surpassed the Duanmu family, why would the Mystic Essence Sword sect leader have this intention? Why would he punish him? Even if he destroyed the Duanmu family, the Mystic Essence Sword sect leader would not say a word. Although he had displayed an extremely powerful talent during this period of time, it was only now. After all, he was still young. Who knew what would happen in the future? Would he be like a shooting star, flashing and disappearing? There were too many examples of this in the world. Moreover, Duanmu Lin was also a peerless genius. Now that he had awakened a second-grade king bloodline, he had broken through to the martial ancestor realm at the age of 18. In many people's eyes, Duanmu Lin's future was definitely stronger than Lu Ming's. Therefore, in general, Lu Ming's value and weight were too far away from the Duanmu family. Therefore, the sect leader chose the Duanmu family in the end. This was the reality. Lu Ming sighed in his heart. Then, he smiled indifferently and looked at the Mystic Essence Sword sect leader. His clear voice rang out, Sect leader Lin, today I, Lu Ming, am withdrawing from the Mystic Essence Sword sect. His voice was calm and indifferent, causing everyone's hearts to tremble. Lu Ming was withdrawing from the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Lu Ming, no. Mulin shouted. Senior brother Lu Ming. Peng Shi gritted his teeth, his eyes wide open. Sigh. Zhang Muyun, Duangang and the others sighed. Many of the Duanmu clan's disciples laughed loudly. Cold smiles appeared on Duanmu Songhai and Duanmu Pajuan's faces. Senior Sister Mulin's Big Stone, you don't need to say anything more. I've already made up my mind. Rather than wait for him to be expelled from the sect, he might as well withdraw himself. Alas! Sect leader Lin Shui let out a long sigh and said, Lu Ming, I, Lin Shui, guarantee that no one will dare to touch your family. I will guarantee their safety for 10 years. Elder you! Lin Shui shouted. I'm here. Behind Lin Shui, a golden-robed elder cupped his fists and said, Set off immediately and guard the Lu clan in Windfire City for 10 years. Ensure the safety of the Lu clan for 10 years. Kill anyone who dares to touch the Lu clan. Lin Shui instructed. Understood. The golden-robed elder cupped his fists and turned into a streak of light, disappearing into the horizon. Duanmu Songhai's old eyes narrowed slightly. A sharp light flashed across them. Duanmu Pajuan's face was slightly ugly. It was obvious that Lin Shui's action was to guard against the Duanmu clan. Many thanks, sect leader Lin. Lu Ming stepped forward, cupping his fists to express his gratitude. He was sincerely thanking Lin Shui. He was originally worried about the Lu clan and his mother, but there was no need for that now. With a golden-robed elder guarding the Lu clan would be absolutely safe for the next 10 years. Lu Ming, I've let you down. As the Mystic Essence Sword sect leader, I have to think for the sect. Lin Shui's sigh sounded in Lu Ming's ears. Of course, it was transmitted through voice transmission. No one else could hear it. Lu Ming nodded, not saying anything. He then flew towards Yanlan. He saluted and said, "Sect leader, Lu Ming thanks you for your help. Lu Ming, you don't have to do this. I can protect you even if I have to risk my life." Yanlan said. Lu Ming will remember sect leader's kindness. After saluting again, Lu Ming moved and came to Mulins's side. Lu Ming. Senior brother Lu Ming. Mulins and the others shouted, their eyes filled with anger and reluctance. Everyone take care in the future. I will come back to see you. Lu Ming said with a smile. Senior brother Lu Ming, if you leave the sect, I will follow you. I won't stay here anymore. Pang Shi shouted. Big Stone, what nonsense are you talking about? Cultivate well in the Mystic Essence Sword sect. With your talent, you will definitely achieve something in the future. Don't disappoint your parents. Lu Ming said, but his heart was filled with warmth. The best thing he had gained in the Mystic Essence Sword sect was to make a few true friends. But, Pang Shi's eyes were red, his fists were clenched tightly. But what? Cultivate well. We will definitely meet again in the future and drink together. Lu Ming patted Pang Shi's shoulder and said solemnly. Pang Shi clenched his teeth and nodded solemnly. Lu Ming, you leave the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Be careful. The Duanmu family will not let you off so easily. Mulins warned, her eyes filled with worry. Lu Ming nodded. Of course he was well aware of this. His relationship with the Duanmu clan was already irreconcilable. Suddenly, Lu Ming smiled and whispered in Mulins's ear, Senior Sister Mulins, don't forget that you still owe me a reward. I will ask for it the next time we meet. Then he took a deep breath. Mulins blushed and said softly, as long as you are alive, everything is negotiable. Everything is negotiable? Is she hinting at something? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Then he smiled and turned to leave. Lu Ming, take care. Zhang Muyun strode out and cupped his fists at Lu Ming. Lu Ming, take care. Ling Kong, Duangang, Zhua Yirong, Chang Feilwan, and the rest walked out and cupped their fists at Lu Ming. Haha, everyone take care. Let's drink together next time. Lu Ming laughed heartily. Next time? There will be a next time? Lu Ming, I will kill you. Duanmu Lin's eyes were cold and his voice was filled with killing intent. Lu Ming turned around and looked at Duanmu Lin with a sneer on his face. Duanmu Lin, do you really think you are a genius? I, Lu Ming, swear today that I will take your head with my own strength within 2 years. Haha, what a joke, with your own strength? You will never be a match for me in this lifetime. Duanmu Lin revealed a mocking smile that was filled with disdain. Also, we'll talk about it again if you have the life to live. Liner, he is just talking nonsense. He forcefully merged with the Beast King's soul and will soon become a cripple. He is already at the end of his road. Duanmu Pajuan sneered. Is that so? Old man, just you wait. Today, I killed more than a dozen people from your Duanmu family. In the future, I will definitely flatten the Duanmu family with the long spear in my hand. With that, Lu Ming let out a long laugh. Step by step, he stepped into the air and headed out of the Mystic Essence Sword sect. Under the sunlight, Lu Ming's young back view was filled with confidence, perseverance, unyielding spirit, and a heroic spirit that seemed to be ready to break through the heavens. This scene, this moment, this back view was deeply imprinted in the minds of everyone present. Chapter 189. Lu Ming, I believe that nothing will happen to you. You will definitely be able to create a miracle and flatten the Duanmu family in the future. Mulins whispered. As for Feng Wu, he also looked at Lu Ming's departing figure with a complicated expression. This youth, who was about the same age as him, had joined the Mystic Essence Sword sect with her and participated in the examination together, but he had created too many miracles. Once she had a special feeling for Lu Ming, but as Lu Ming burst out with a dazzling light, she suppressed that feeling. She knew that the gap between them was too big. In the future, it would only get bigger and bigger. Senior brother Lu Ming. Pang Shi clenched his fists tightly. His tiger eyes were filled with tears as his body trembled non-stop. Lu Ming, the world is unfair. But I believe that you will be able to break through all the obstacles. In the future, I will wait for you to discuss the Tao with me. Zhang Muyun muttered to himself. At the side, Zhuo Yirong tightly grabbed onto Zhang Muyun's hands. Lu Ming, Lu Ming. Lu Yao stared blankly at Lu Ming's departing figure. At this moment, she didn't know why. But her heart was filled with complicated emotions. On one hand, she hated that Lu Ming was just a trash that she had abandoned, but he actually had such a high talent. Furthermore, he had killed his father and crippled his brother. On the other hand, she was afraid that Lu Ming would really one day kill his way to the Duanmu family and destroy everything she had. Lu Ming, you should go to hell. In the end, Lu Yao growled. Sigh. The sect leader of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, Lin Shui, let out a long sigh. She turned around and took a step forward, disappearing into the horizon. Duanmu Songhai looked in the direction where Lu Ming had disappeared. His turbid old eyes flashed with a bright light. Pujuan, this child is too extraordinary. He is a peerless genius and must not be allowed to live. If he does not die, my heart will not be at ease. Duanmu Songhai said solemnly to Duanmu Pujuan. Duanmu Pujuan was greatly shocked. His father actually thought so highly of Lu Ming. Was Lu Ming's threat really that great? Father, don't worry. I will arrange it. Duanmu Pujuan bowed. That's great. Duanmu Songhai nodded, then took a step forward and disappeared without a trace. The crowd slowly dispersed. However, after today's events, Lu Ming's name was destined to shock everyone in the Mystic Essence Sword sect. His name would be engraved in the history of the sect. Lu Ming left the Mystic Essence Sword sect and quickly flew into the distance. Not long after, he rushed into a mountain forest. At this time, the aura on his body was rapidly declining. Although the Demon King's soul was powerful, it had been holding on for so long, and its energy had been depleted. Puff! Lu Ming's body trembled and he couldn't help but spit out a mouthful of blood. The backlash from the Demon King's soul is too strong. Even with the spirit-devouring bloodline, my body was nearly unable to withstand it and was severely injured. Lu Ming pondered. At this moment, his bones were faintly cracked, his muscles were torn apart by a powerful force, and his skin was covered with a thick layer of blood scabs. However, it was not as serious as Duanmu Pujuan and the others had imagined. They had thought that Lu Ming was already crippled. As long as Lu Ming focused on recuperating, he would recover in a few days. This was the uniqueness of the spirit-devouring bloodline. Lu Ming looked in the direction of the Mystic Essence Sword sect, his eyes shining brightly. In the end, I'm still too weak. The Duanmu family used their entire family to suppress the Mystic Essence Sword sect master. Of course, I can't compare to an entire family. But that's only for now. Soon I will prove that I alone can suppress an entire family, an entire force. I want to become stronger. With a spear in hand, I can dominate the world. That's my goal. Lu Ming clenched his fists, his eyes filled with determination. There's also Autumn Moon. This time I can't bid farewell to her. If she knows that I left the Mystic Essence Sword sect, I wonder what she will do? That girl will probably cause a huge ruckus. Lu Ming thought to himself. Forget it. There will be a time when we meet again. The most important thing now is to recuperate. With a thought, Lu Ming appeared in the Temple of Paragon. He took out a healing pill, swallowed it and started to recuperate. 2 days later, Lu Ming's injuries were 80% healed. Mother must be worried about me this time. I should go back home and see her. Then, I'll go to the imperial capital and cultivate while thinking of a way to save my father. After planning the rest of his journey, Lu Ming left the Temple of Paragon. He found a small river in the forest and washed the blood off his body. He then changed into a black robe and put on a bamboo hat. He left the forest and headed toward Fenghua City. The black robe and bamboo hat were the same ones he had used before. He had always kept them in the Temple of Paragon. The Duanmu family wouldn't let him off so easily. Hence he had to be careful. On the way to Firestorm City, he changed directions a few times. He only returned to the Lu family 7 days later. Ming, you're fine. That's great. At the first sight of Lu Ming, Li Ping's tears rolled down her cheeks. She hugged Lu Ming tightly. Lu Ming had chased after Lu Yunxiong. During this period, she had been on tenterhooks every day. She was afraid that something had happened to Lu Ming. "Mother, I'm fine. Don't worry." Lu Ming smiled. "That's great. That's great." Li Ping nodded incessantly, looking at Lu Ming carefully. Then, he chatted with Li Ping about the Lu family's situation. Previously, the second to sixth branches of the Lu family had all surrendered to Lu Yunxiong. However, Lu Ming had returned. Not only did he kill all of Lu Yunxiong's men, but he even chased after Lu Yunxiong. Seeing those invincible experts lying in the Lu family's courtyard as corpses, the Lu family's members were terrified. It was unbelievable that Lu Ming was so strong. For the past few days, they had been waiting in fear for Lu Ming's return and his judgment. After chatting with Li Ping for a while, the remaining 3 core elders of the Lu family came to greet him. "The 3 of us greet the young lord." When the 3 core elders saw Lu Ming, they bowed and greeted him. "Elders, there's no need to be so polite." Lu Ming quickly helped the 3 core elders up. He was touched and respectful that the core elders still stood by the Lu family, and Li Ping's side at the moment of life and death. The 3 core elders looked at Lu Ming with undisguised joy in their eyes. Lu Ming's combat strength was so strong that he could chase after Lu Yunxiong and return alive. This meant that the Lu family would rise soon. They were naturally happy. "Young lord, the leaders of the second to sixth branches are waiting outside," one of the core elders said. "Oh, then let them wait. Come, 3 elders, let's have some tea and chat." Lu Ming smiled and invited the 3 core elders to take a seat. Then Lu Ming asked about the Lu family situation and the details of how Lu Yunxiong came to the Lu family. In the blink of an eye, 2 hours had passed. "Go, let them in." Lu Ming ordered a maid. The maid acknowledged and went out. Soon 5 middle-aged men came in. These 5 middle-aged men were the leaders of the second to sixth branches and the elders of the Lu family. "Greetings, young lord." Chapter 190. Lu Ming sat upright in his seat and accepted the bow calmly. He glanced at them and sneered. "I'm your young master? Your master should be Lu Yunxiong, right?" The faces of the 5 branch leaders paled, and one of them said, "Young lord, you've misunderstood. That day, the force Lu Yunxiong brought with him was too strong. If we resisted, we would have been annihilated. If that happened, the Lu family would be finished." "Yes, young master. We surrendered to Lu Yunxiong only as a temporary measure. We wanted to preserve our lives and wait for your return." "Oh, is that so?" Lu Ming looked at them with a faint smile. He did not speak, but picked up his teacup and drank slowly. The 5 branch leaders looked at each other. They did not know what Lu Ming was thinking and felt uneasy. At that time, the Mystic Essence Sword sect had already informed them of my death, right? Waiting for my return? Did they already know that I was not dead? Lu Ming asked calmly. The 5 of them began to sweat and looked at each other. Then they braced themselves and said, "Young master, you are a genius. How could you die so easily? We already guessed that you were not dead. That's why we decided to take advantage of you." "Oh, I see. You are all very resourceful. You can even tell someone's fortune," Lu Ming said calmly and continued to drink his tea. The 5 branch leaders' faces turned red, but they could only grit their teeth and keep quiet. The atmosphere seemed to have frozen. Lu Ming drank his tea. The 3 core elders and Li Ping did not speak. The 5 branch leaders could only stand there and did not dare to make a sound. The current Lu Ming was no longer the useless young master from back then. His combat power was unparalleled and his cultivation had reached an incredible level. Killing them was easier than killing an ant. Unknowingly, he had formed a very powerful aura. They did not even dare to breathe loudly in front of Lu Ming. "Lu Yunxiong has been killed by me." Suddenly, Lu Ming's voice sounded. "What?" Not only were the 5 branch masters shocked, but even the 3 core elders were shocked. "I've already killed Lu Yunxiong in the White Tiger Hall. Therefore, don't think that you're lucky. This is the fate of those who betray the Lu clan," Lu Ming said coldly. "Hiss!" Everyone gasped. Lu Ming had actually killed Lu Yunxiong in the White Tiger courtyard, and still managed to return alive. Just how capable was he? It was already hard for them to imagine. At the same time, the 5 branch leaders were terrified. They looked at each other and actually knelt down together, saying, "Young Lord, we were really foolish that day. Please forgive us, young Lord. We will wholeheartedly assist young Lord in reviving the Lu family. If we disobey, we will die a horrible death." Why can't I believe it? Lu Ming looked at the 5 branch masters with a faint smile. The cold sweat on the faces of the 5 branch masters became denser and dripped down continuously. "How about this? All of you swear an oath on your inner demons, and I'll believe you," Lu Ming said indifferently. "An oath on your inner demons." The 5 branch masters' faces changed drastically. An oath on one's inner demons was to swear to one's own heart, using one's blood essence as a stepping stone. Once a martial artist made an oath on his inner demons and went against it in the future, it would be easy for the inner demons to flare up during cultivation, resulting in chi deviation and death. "Why? If you don't want to make the oath, I won't feel at ease leaving you here." Lu Ming's voice turned cold. The 5 branch masters' faces changed drastically, and they quickly said, "Yes, we'll make the oath." Then the 5 of them swore an oath on their inner demons. Lu Ming smiled and said, "In the future, you will know that you made the right choice. Now you may leave." The 5 branch masters quickly excused themselves. "Elders, the Lu clan's strength has been greatly reduced after a series of twists and turns. However, quality is more important than quantity. I have some secret manuals here. Take them and cultivate." Lu Ming's phone lit up, and a stack of books appeared on the table. Secret manuals on cultivation and martial techniques? The 3 core elders were confused, and they each picked up a book and flipped through it. As soon as they opened the book, their eyes widened in shock. High-grade yellow class martial techniques. Mine is also a high-grade yellow class martial technique. Mine too. The 3 core elders exclaimed in unison. "Elders, here are 5 high-grade yellow class martial techniques and 10 low-grade yellow class martial techniques. Take them and cultivate. You can also choose the best seedlings in the clan and teach them." Lu Ming smiled. 5 high-grade yellow class martial techniques and 10 low-grade yellow class martial techniques? The 3 core elders sucked in a breath of cold air. The Lu clan only had 1 high-grade yellow class martial technique, and it was regarded as the clan's ultimate technique. Ordinary people were not qualified to cultivate it. The Lu clan did not have many low-grade yellow class martial techniques, only 6 or 7 of them. Now, Lu Ming actually took out so many secret manuals in one go. If the Lu clan's disciples cultivated them, their strength would rise quickly. "Thank you, young lord." The 3 core elders thanked Lu Ming, their bodies trembling with excitement. "Elders, you don't have to thank me. Since I am the young lord of the Lu clan, this is what I should do," Lu Ming said. In the Dongi clan's ruins, Lu Ming had obtained more than 30 yellow class martial technique manuals. These manuals were useless to him, so he could only sell them. It was better to keep them in the Lu clan and increase their strength. "There's more." Lu Ming's mind moved, and a few more jade bottles appeared on the table. Inside these jade bottles were some medicinal pills. Some could heal injuries, some could expel poison, and some could increase the cultivation of martial soldier or martial mentor. They were all obtained by Lu Ming from the enemies he killed. They were useless to Lu Ming, but to most of the Lu clan's Meridian Opening Realm and Martial Soldier Realm martial artists, they were of great use. "Take these pills. As for how to divide them, you can decide," Lu Ming said. "Young lord, if you give them to the clan, what about yourself?" One of the core elders asked. "Take them. I have no use for them." Lu Ming smiled. Good. We'll take them. We'll distribute them to the disciples who are loyal to the Lu clan and increase the clan's strength," another core elder said excitedly. The 3 of them carefully put away the pills. Li Ping was so happy that she couldn't close her mouth when she saw Lu Ming take out so many treasures. The 3 core elders bid farewell to Lu Ming. They were in a hurry to go back and discuss how to use these treasures to increase the Lu clan's strength as soon as possible. Lu Ming stayed in the Lu clan for 7 days. After 7 days, Lu Ming decided to bid farewell to Li Ping. He couldn't hide in the Lu clan forever. There were some things he had to face. Moreover, he had to investigate Lu Yunqian's whereabouts as soon as possible. In the main residence's courtyard. "Ming'er, go out. Be careful." Li Ping didn't urge Lu Ming to stay. She only reminded Lu Ming to be careful. A man's ambition was to travel far. Moreover, a genius like Lu Ming couldn't be trapped in one place. That would only bind him. Li Ping knew this very well, so she didn't urge him to stay. "Mother, don't worry. Ming'er will be fine," Lu Ming said. Afterward, Lu Ming pondered and hesitated. After a while he said, "Mom, Ming'er has something to tell you." Chapter 191. In the past he chose to keep it a secret as he was worried about Li Ping. However, after experiencing so many things during this period of time, he understood a lot more. If he told Li Ping this news, although she would be worried, there would still be hope in her heart. No matter what happened, there would always be a glimmer of hope in her heart. As long as there was hope, it was enough. "What news?" Li Ping asked curiously when she saw Lu Ming's solemn expression. "Father, he might not be dead," Lu Ming said seriously. As soon as he finished speaking, Li Ping's body suddenly trembled and her eyes widened. Then Li Ping's body trembled more and more violently. Her eyes flashed with strong hope as she said in a trembling voice, Ming'er, what did you say?" "Mother, I said that father might not be dead," Lu Ming repeated. "Not dead? Not dead? Ming'er, is that true?" Slowly, Li Ping revealed an emotional expression as tears flowed down her cheeks uncontrollably. Then she asked again, "Ming'er, where did you get this news from? Is it true? If your father is not dead, where has he been all these years?" "Mother, it's like this." Then Lu Ming told Li Ping about his encounter with Zhou Linshan in detail. "So it's him. He sent me a spiritual sword and a pendant back then. I once asked him about Yun Tian's whereabouts, but he told me that Yun Tian was dead. Turns out that he was lying back then. In that case, Yun Tian is really still alive in this world?" Li Ping said excitedly. Her eyes were filled with hope. "Yes, mother. Now that father might be in the hands of the Shifang sword sect, I plan to go to the imperial capital to investigate father's whereabouts." "Ming'er, I heard that the Shifang sword sect is the strongest sect in the Blazing Sun Empire. You must be careful and cautious," Li Ping warned. She was very worried. "Mother, don't worry. Ming'er will not clash with the Shifang sword sect now. I'm just investigating. Nothing will happen," Lu Ming said. Li Ping was relieved. "Mother, don't worry. As long as father is still alive, Ming'er will definitely save father and let our family reunite," Lu Ming said firmly. "Ming'er, mother believes in you." Li Ping smiled. Lu Ming nodded heavily and said, "Mother, Ming'er will leave now. Go." Lu Ming bid farewell to Li Ping and left. Walking out of the Lu mansion, Lu Ming looked towards the back of the Lu mansion. He pondered for a moment before he made his way there. Behind the Lu residence was an orchard filled with fruit trees. Among them there were also small bridges flowing water, pavilions, and lakes. The environment was very elegant. Lu Ming walked into the orchard and came to a small lake. Beside the lake, there was an old man fishing. This old man was none other than the golden-robed elder sent by the Mystic Essence Sword Sect Master, Lin Shui, to guard the Lu family. "Lu Ming, your senses are really sharp. When I was cultivating for the past 2 days, you were able to sense even the slightest fluctuation." The golden-robed elder smiled. "Lu Ming, thank you for coming to guard the Lu family." Lu Ming cupped his fists and bowed. "You don't have to thank me. I'm just following orders. Moreover, this is what you deserve. After all, the sect has wronged you." The golden-robed elder sighed. Lu Ming was silent and did not say anything. The golden-robed elder pondered for a moment and sighed. "Lu Ming, I hope you don't blame the sect master. In fact, he was put in a difficult position. As the sect master, he has to put the Mystic Essence Sword Sect's interests first. Senior, I'm not blaming anyone. In this world, the weak are prey to the strong. If I want to blame someone, I can only blame myself for being too weak. However, sooner or later, I will surpass all forces and families. Heaven will no longer be able to cover my eyes," Lu Ming said. It seemed like he was talking to the old man, but it also seemed like he was talking to himself. The old man was stunned. He seemed to be moved. "No matter what, Lu Ming still wants to thank you, senior." Lu Ming cupped his fists again and bowed to the old man. He then turned around and strode away. Looking at Lu Ming's back, the old man was in a daze. After a long time, he let out a long sigh. Sectmaster, perhaps you made the wrong choice this time. After leaving the orchard, Lu Ming did not leave Firestorm City immediately. Instead, he found a secluded place and entered the Temple of Paragon to cultivate. Time passed and night fell. Lu Ming finally left the Temple of Paragon. He put on his black robe and bamboo hat and left the city. Then, he headed in the direction of the imperial capital. The imperial capital was located at the center of the Burning Sun Empire. It was more than 10,000 miles away from Firestorm City. Even with Lu Ming's current movement technique, it would take him more than 20 days to reach the imperial capital. The first 3 days were calm and peaceful. However, on the evening of the fourth day, Lu Ming, who was in a hurry, suddenly stopped. He felt a few murderous intents looming over him. Someone wanted to kill him. Without any hesitation, Lu Ming stomped his foot and soared into the sky. Just as Lu Ming soared into the sky, a sharp and cold sword chi pierced the place where Lu Ming had been standing. With a sizzling sound, the sword chi left a bottomless hole in the ground. Swoosh! Swoosh! Then 7 or 8 figures flashed out from all directions like ghosts. Lu Ming swept his gaze across the room. There were 8 figures in total. They were all wearing black robes and masks on their heads. They were wearing silver wolf masks. Shadow Wolf Pavilion. Lu Ming immediately realized that this was the Shadow Wolf Pavilion, one of the top 4 assassin organizations in the Burning Sun Empire. The silver wolf masks meant that they were silver wolf assassins of the Shadow Wolf Pavilion. 5 6th grade martial masters and 3 7th grade martial masters. The Shadow Wolf Pavilion really thinks highly of me, Lu Ming. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. Kill! Kill! 8 murderous cries and 8 extremely sharp sword chi pierced towards Lu Ming. Let's see who will kill who. Lu Ming roared. At the moment of life and death, Lu Ming directly activated his bloodline. At the same time, an ancient shield appeared on his body. Explode! Lu Ming ignored the attacks of the other 7. His long spear turned into a ray of light and shot towards a 6th grade martial master assassin of the Shadow Wolf Pavilion. Pung pung. 7 consecutive attacks landed on Lu Ming's body. 4 of them were blocked by the shield. The shield buzzed and vibrated continuously, but it was not broken in the end. However, a shield could only cover a limited area and could only block one direction. 3 more sword chi landed on Lu Ming's body. 50% of the attacks were absorbed by the spirit-devouring bloodline, but the remaining power still made Lu Ming's body tremble. Boom! At this moment, Lu Ming's attack also exploded. The 6th grade martial master expert did not even have time to scream before he was killed by a spear. Devour! A huge devouring power appeared and devoured the blood essence of the assassin. Damn it! Didn't they say that Lu Ming merged with the Demon King's soul and was half crippled? How can it be so terrifying? It seems that the information was wrong. Let's avoid that shield and directly attack Lu Ming's body. Once the time of his bloodline is up, we can kill him. Chapter 192. Chi-Chi. 7 silhouettes flickered rapidly. They were like 7 shadow wolves. Their speed was extremely fast. As their figures flashed, streams of sharp and ruthless sword chi avoided Lu Ming's ancient shield and stabbed towards Lu Ming. Kill! Lu Ming shouted, ignoring the attacks from all directions. He only targeted a 6th-layer martial master assassin and attacked with all his strength. The assassin was shocked and quickly retreated. However, Lu Ming was even faster. He used the high air steps to the extreme and his body seemed to be weightless. Landslide. Lu Ming's long spear smashed down heavily from above. 100-meter-long spear light as thick as a water tank smashed towards the assassin. Bang! Although the assassin tried his best to block, he was still sent flying and blood spurted out of his mouth. Chasing thunder. With a sizzling sound, the spear light pierced through the assassin's heart like lightning. Another person was killed. However, in the process, Lu Ming was hit 7 or 8 times. Even with the spirit-devouring bloodline, his face was still pale and blood flowed out of the corner of his mouth. He was injured. At this moment, his aura was rapidly declining. It was time for his bloodline to erupt. It's time for his bloodline to erupt. The remaining assassins were overjoyed. Just now, Lu Ming was like an undying demon god. He ignored the attacks and killed 2 people in a row, which made their hearts tremble. He's already injured and his strength has weakened. He can't escape. A seventh-layer martial master assassin shouted. The figures of the remaining 5 flashed and they surrounded Lu Ming. You were sent by the Duanmu family, right? Lu Ming suddenly asked. Why do you care who sent us? We're here to take your life anyway. An assassin sneered, his voice cold. Lu Ming sneered. Although the other party did not go easy on him, he was sure that it was the Duanmu family. Other than the Duanmu family, who would want to kill him? He guessed that he had been targeted not long after coming out of Firestorm City. Moreover, when Lu Ming went to the Mystic Essence Sword sect to participate in the assessment, he was assassinated by the Shadow Wolf Pavilion in Mystic Sword City. At that time his only enemy was the Duanmu clan. Lu Ming would never believe that it wasn't the Duanmu clan. Speak, what is the relationship between the Duanmu clan and your Shadow Wolf Pavilion? Or perhaps, what is the relationship between your Shadow Wolf Pavilion and the Mystic Essence Sword sect? Lu Ming asked coldly. You're about to die, yet you still have so many questions. However, you'd better go and ask the King of Hell. Kill. A 7th-level martial master assassin coldly shouted and charged towards Lu Ming. The other 5 people also launched their attacks. Sword Chi was like a net, covering Lu Ming. Whoosh! Lu Ming didn't take it head-on. Instead, he used high air steps to dodge. However, the other party was a top-notch assassin with a tacit understanding of each other. Lu Ming simply could not dodge all of their attacks. If not for the protection of the ancient shield, he would have been injured long ago. Even so, Lu Ming was still surrounded by danger. Lu Ming's current cultivation was at the peak of the 3rd-level martial master realm. Without activating his bloodline, he could fight against a 7th-level martial master expert and even suppress them. However, the other party had 3 7th-level martial masters and 3 6th-level martial masters. With their tacit understanding of each other, Lu Ming was completely at a disadvantage. 6 streams of sword chi completely enveloped Lu Ming. Lu Ming's long spear moved horizontally as he fought with them. Bang! A 6th-level martial master assassin was swept by the long spear, and his body was sent flying 100 meters away. His face was pale. However, Lu Ming also paid a price. There was an additional sword wound on his body, and blood flowed out. Refine for me! Lu Ming roared. In his body, he had just devoured the blood essence of 2 6th-level martial master assassins. At this moment he was fighting and refining it at the same time. He wanted to break through to the next realm. His cultivation was originally at the peak of the 3rd-level martial master realm. He was only a step away from the 4th-level martial master realm. As long as he could break through, his battle strength would increase greatly and he would be able to fight back. However, it was not so easy to break through to the next realm after reaching the martial master realm. Boom! The true chi in his body was rumbling, but it was difficult to break through in a short period of time. Not enough energy. I have to kill another person and devour another person's blood essence before I can break through. Lu Ming roared in his heart. Kill! He used all his strength to pounce towards the injured assassin. However, how could the other assassins let him do as he wished? They attacked him with all their might. Not long after, 2 more wounds appeared on Lu Ming's body. If he had not dodged in time, he would have been split in half. However, he got the result he wanted after getting injured. That 6th-level martial master assassin was once again swept by Lu Ming's spear. This spear was even more domineering. Half of the opponent's body almost exploded as he flew out. He was already half dead. Die! Lu Ming dashed forward without a care for anything else. Poochie! Lu Ming paid the price of another wound, but he also finished off that 6th-level martial master assassin with a single spear. Devour! The spirit-devouring bloodline erupted with a powerful devouring power, and devoured the opponent's blood essence in an instant. Rumble! Suddenly, waves of energy emerged from the bloodline. Break! Break for me! Lu Ming roared in his heart as he dodged the remaining assassin's attacks with all his might. After a dozen more moves, Lu Ming's injuries became more serious and the situation became more and more unfavorable for him. Boom! At this moment, a rumble suddenly erupted from his body. Lu Ming's aura instantly surged. He had broken through to the 4th-level martial master realm. Boom! Lu Ming swept out with his spear and collided with a 7th-level martial master assassin. The long spear and the battle sword clashed. The assassin's face suddenly changed. His battle sword was bent, and his body was sent flying backwards with a swish sound. How is it possible to break through to the next realm? An assassin roared. Now let's see who will kill who. Lu Ming roared. His aura was wild as he swept out with his long spear. The spear light was like a mountain. Bang! Bang! 2 6th-level martial master assassins were directly sent flying. They slid on the mountain for dozens of meters and were already half dead, unable to move. Monster, what a monster! Let's go! The remaining 3 7th-level martial master experts' faces changed. Without thinking, they actually turned around and ran. Lu Ming's eyes were cold as he stared at one of them and chased after him. Ah! The assassin who was being chased by Lu Ming roared. He was shocked because he realized that his speed was not as fast as Lu Ming's. Soon Lu Ming caught up. I'll fight you to the death. The assassin roared and attacked Lu Ming. Unfortunately, he was not Lu Ming's opponent at all. Now Lu Ming had already broken through to the 4th-level martial master realm. Even if he faced an 8th-level martial master, he could still fight, let alone him. Completely suppressed. This assassin used all his strength and could only resist a dozen moves before he was pierced through by Lu Ming's spear. Then Lu Ming devoured the assassin's blood essence and turned around to kill the other 2 6th-level martial master assassins and devoured their blood essence. Storage ring. Lu Ming realized that each of these assassins had a storage ring. Lu Ming took it without hesitation. Then, his figure moved and headed towards the deep mountains and forests. After running for more than 30 miles in one breath, Lu Ming stopped. His body trembled and he spat out a mouthful of blood. Although he had achieved great results in the battle just now, his injuries were not light either. Duanmu family, if I Lu Ming don't flatten you, I swear I'm not human. Chapter 193. After that, Lu Ming entered the Temple of Paragon and started to refine the essence blood to heal himself. At this moment, on a mountain peak 100 miles away from Lu Ming, a black-robed man with a golden wolf mask stood with his hands behind his back. He was exuding a cold, murderous aura. He was the golden wolf assassin from the Shadow Wolf Pavilion. Whoosh! Whoosh! Suddenly, 2 figures rushed toward the mountain peak as fast as lightning. When they arrived in front of the man with the golden wolf mask, they immediately knelt down. What happened? Where are the others? The man with the golden wolf mask asked coldly. Sir, the others are all dead. They were killed by Lu Ming. The information we received was wrong. Lu Ming is not half crippled. One of the silver wolf assassins said. Not crippled? Then, can he still use his beast soul? The golden wolf assassin asked. I don't think so. Although he killed so many of our men, Lu Ming's injuries are not light. He didn't use his beast soul even in such a situation. I think he has used up all his beast souls. One of the silver wolf assassins guessed. Good. It's good that he doesn't have any beast souls. Lu Ming is dead for sure. The 2 of you follow me and go after Lu Ming. The golden wolf assassin ordered. Previously, he did not attack together because he was afraid that Lu Ming still had beast souls. So he sent someone to test him first. Now that it was confirmed that Lu Ming did not have any beast souls, he was going to attack. Yes, the 2 silver wolf assassins answered. With the sound of something breaking through the air, the 3 figures disappeared without a trace. In the Temple of Paragon, Lu Ming was refining the essence blood with all his might. Fortunately, most of his injuries were external, so it was relatively easy to treat them. When the essence blood turned into rolling energy and was refined by Lu Ming, his injuries healed quickly. His muscles wriggled and his wounds began to heal. Soon Lu Ming's wounds began to scab. This was also because Lu Ming's physical body had reached the complete 2nd grade. Ordinary people would not be able to do this. 2 days later, Lu Ming's injuries had completely healed, and his cultivation had even improved. I'm afraid that the Shadow Wolf Pavilion will not give up so easily. They will definitely send people after me. I cannot take the main road to the imperial capital this time. I will travel along the desolate mountain range. I can hunt demonic beasts along the way and raise my cultivation. I can also practice martial techniques. Lu Ming fell into deep thought. After that, he walked out of the Temple of Paragon and hid his aura. He walked through the forest towards the imperial capital, but not long after, Lu Ming felt a terrifying pressure coming from afar. Whoosh! A beam of rainbow light pierced through the air. Within the rainbow light was a black-robed man wearing a golden wolf mask. Martial Ancestor Realm Expert. Shadow Wolf Pavilion's Golden Wolf Assassin. Lu Ming's expression changed greatly. The Golden Wolf Assassins of the Shadow Wolf Pavilion were all experts at the Martial Ancestor Realm and above. They were not people that Lu Ming could defeat. Go! Without any hesitation, Lu Ming executed the airborne steps to the maximum and ran towards the depths of the forest. Ha ha ha, Lu Ming, I don't know what method you used to hide for 2 days. But now you can't hide anymore and have shown yourself. Let's see where you can run to this time. The Golden Wolf Assassin let out an ear-piercing laugh. Lu Ming ran wildly. He stepped on the trees and his body shot forward like a bolt of lightning. He was so fast that he looked like a phantom. However, the Golden Wolf Assassin was a Martial Ancestor Realm expert and could walk in the air. His speed was beyond the realm of mortals. Lu Ming could not shake him off at all. Die! Whoosh! A beam of sword chi pierced through the air and charged towards Lu Ming. It was fast, ruthless, and extremely powerful. Dodge, I have to dodge. Lu Ming growled. His body moved continuously and he barely managed to dodge the sword. But he was also hit by the sword and a part of his sleeve disappeared. You actually managed to dodge my sword. What about now? The Golden Wolf Assassin sneered and waved the combat sword in his hand. Whoosh whoosh. There were more than 10 beams of sword chi. Each of them was extremely powerful and unstoppable. Ancient shield. Lu Ming shouted and an ancient shield appeared. Clang! The sword chi slashed on the shield and the shield shook violently. Then it exploded. Lu Ming's body was also sent flying dozens of meters backward. He crashed into a tree that was so thick that it would take one person to hug it. At this moment, the sound of something breaking through the air could be heard. 2 figures rushed over. They were the 2 Silver Wolf Assassins. Lu Ming, you won't be able to escape this time. One of the Silver Wolf Assassins laughed loudly. Shadow Wolf Pavilion, I don't care where you came from. As long as I, Lu Ming, am alive, I will destroy your Shadow Wolf Pavilion. Lu Ming growled and continued to run into the depths of the forest. You want to destroy my Shadow Wolf Pavilion? How naive. The Golden Wolf Assassin sneered and continued to chase him in the sky. Behind the golden mask, there was a cold look in his eyes. He was looking for an opportunity to kill with a single strike. Facing a genius like Lu Ming, even someone as powerful as him didn't dare to underestimate him. Otherwise, he would be the one at a disadvantage. This is the time. The Golden Wolf Assassin's eyes suddenly lit up. The combat sword in his hand glowed and a bright and sharp sword chi pierced out. The Golden Wolf Assassin used all his strength in this attack. It was unbelievably fast. Moreover, it seemed like he had calculated Lu Ming's running route. It seemed like Lu Ming was going to collide with the sword chi. Oh no! Lu Ming's heart beat rapidly and his hair stood on end. At this moment he could feel the aura of death. It was as if the Grim Reaper was pointing his scythe at him. I can't dodge it. I have to block it. I can't die yet. Lu Ming screamed in his heart. His eyes were bloodshot. In an instant the power of his bloodline erupted. At the same time an ancient shield appeared. Explode! Lu Ming stabbed out with his long spear. The tip of the spear emitted a bright light. It was as if there was a bright star at the tip of Lu Ming's spear. A terrifying wave burst out. This was the strongest move that Lu Ming could perform at the moment. It blasted towards the sword chi above his head. Chi! Suddenly a white light flew out from the depths of the forest. It was like a flying immortal. It also blasted towards the sword chi of the Golden Wolf Assassin. Boom! Lu Ming's attack combined with the white light and collided with the sword chi of the Golden Wolf Assassin. Violent energy shot out in all directions. The trees, flowers, and other things in the forest were instantly crushed into pieces. Lu Ming felt a powerful surge of energy. His body flew back dozens of meters. However, he also blocked the Golden Wolf Assassin's attack. Who helped me? Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. Who? How dare you block me? Are you courting death? The Golden Wolf Assassin roared. In the depths of the forest, a white figure flashed out. The person who came was actually a young woman. She wore a white dress. Her skin was like jade and she was extremely beautiful. Seeing this woman, Lu Ming was shocked. He couldn't help but blurt out, "Xian Yanqing, it's you." The young woman's eyes flashed. She looked at Lu Ming and shouted, "Come with me." After saying that, her figure flashed. Like a fairy from the ninth heaven, she ran towards the depths of the forest. Chapter 194. You want to leave? None of you can leave today. The Golden Wolf assassin roared and chased after them. Below, the two Silver Wolf assassins also quickly followed behind. In a dozen breaths, they had covered a few hundred meters and arrived at a purple bamboo forest. At this point, the young woman stopped. "Xian Yanqing, leave quickly. The opponent is a martial arts grandmaster. Even if we join forces, we won't be a match for him." Lu Ming exclaimed softly, "I'm not Xian Yanqing." The young woman suddenly glanced at Lu Ming and said coldly. Lu Ming was stunned. Not Xian Yanqing? How could it be? She looked exactly like Xian Yanqing. How could she not be him? What was this girl up to again? Wait a minute. Something's not right. This woman is different from Xian Yanqing. Lu Ming took a closer look. Indeed, although this woman looked exactly like Xian Yanqing, there were still some differences. First of all, this woman should be slightly older than Xian Yanqing by 1 or 2 years. Xian Yanqing looked younger than Lu Ming, while this woman was about the same age as Lu Ming. Also, their temperaments were completely different. Xian Yanqing was mischievous, like a little witch. This woman, on the other hand, had a calm expression, like an otherworldly fairy. How could there be two people who look so similar in this world? Lu Ming sighed inwardly. Swoosh! The Golden Wolf assassin flew above the purple bamboo forest. Behind him, the two Silver Wolf assassins also flew over. Haha! So it's such a beautiful woman. Good. I can kill Lu Ming and have a good time. When the Golden Wolf assassin saw the young woman's face, his eyes lit up and revealed a lustful look. He secretly sighed that his luck was really good. Chasing Lu Ming, he actually encountered such a peerless beauty. This trip was not in vain. You're courting death. The Golden Wolf assassin's words caused the young woman's eyes to emit a cold killing intent. Her originally cold face became even colder. Demon slaughtering formation, rise. Suddenly, the young woman shouted softly. Her hands formed a seal, and inscriptions appeared out of thin air and flew into the purple bamboo forest. Wang! In the purple bamboo forest, there was a soft sound. Then rays of white light shot up into the sky. These white rays of light converged in the air, forming white sword chi. As the sword chi swam, a shocking killing intent filled the air. The Great Inscription Formation. So you set up the Great Inscription Formation here. But even if there is a Great Inscription Formation, so what? What can you, a great martial master, do to me? The Golden Wolf assassin sneered. Demon slaying formation. Slay demons and eliminate demons. The young woman shouted and waved her hands. In the air, 3 streaks of white sword chi danced and whistled towards the Golden Wolf assassin. Demon slaughtering array. Let's see who you can slaughter. Break! The Golden Wolf assassin slashed out with his sword, and 3 resplendent sword chi blasted towards the white sword chi. Boom! 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 There was an explosion, but it did not destroy the young woman's Great Inscription Formation as the Golden Wolf assassin had expected. The sword chi collided and dissipated together. How can she be so strong? The Golden Wolf assassin was shocked. However, the young woman waved her hand again. In the purple bamboo forest, the white light became brighter. In an instant, more than 10 streaks of white sword chi condensed in the air. Oh no, you guys, retreat! The Golden Wolf assassin's face changed greatly, and he shouted at the 2 Silver Wolf assassins, "It's too late." The young woman's voice seemed to be emotionless and incomparably cold. As her voice fell, the white sword chi in the air also crossed the void. With 2 screams, the 2 Silver Wolf assassins of the 7th level martial mentor realm were pierced through by the sword chi and killed in the forest. At the same time, more sword chi rushed towards the Golden Wolf assassins. Damn it! The Golden Wolf assassin roared. Blood flashed on his body, and a black giant wolf appeared. There were 8 blood-colored chakras on the giant wolf. This was the second bloodline awakening of the Golden Wolf assassin. The second bloodline was a level 8 ordinary bloodline. The Golden Wolf assassin's combat strength increased greatly, and in an instant, he slashed out more than 10 times. Whoosh whoosh whoosh. In the sky, sword chi crisscrossed. Streaks of black sword chi and white sword chi intersected, and the terrifying sword chi shot out in all directions. Demon-slaying formation, god-slaying. The young woman shouted softly. Her body emitted a dazzling white light, and she looked incomparably holy. In the purple bamboo forest, the power of the inscription formation was even stronger. Streaks of sword chi seemed to appear endlessly, and they blasted towards the Golden Wolf assassin. Ah! Suddenly there was a scream. Blood splattered, and one of the Golden Wolf assassin's arms was cut off. The Golden Wolf assassin roared. He became one with his sword, and turned into a dazzling sword light that soared into the sky, out of the attack range of the inscription formation. Damn it! I'll remember today's big grudge. The two of you will face the endless pursuit of my Shadow Wolf Pavilion. The Golden Wolf assassin roared, filled with endless killing intent. Then, he turned into a streak of light and disappeared in the sky. What a pity! The young woman sighed softly, as if it was a pity that she didn't kill the Golden Wolf assassin. Lu Ming, on the other hand, was shocked. This woman's methods were really shocking. She actually used an inscription formation to cut off one of the Golden Wolf assassin's arms. Although the Golden Wolf assassin's cultivation was at the first martial ancestor realm, but this woman's cultivation was only at the 6th martial master realm. The gap between a martial grandmaster realm and a martial ancestor realm was huge, and it was difficult to cross. What a terrifying formation! What is this woman's background? Lu Ming thought to himself. Alright, the other party has left. You should leave too. The young woman looked at Lu Ming with her beautiful eyes. Her voice was still cold, like a fairy that couldn't be approached. Miss, why did you save me? Lu Ming asked. He was a little curious. He had never met this woman before, so why would she spend so much effort to save him, and even fight a martial ancestor realm expert? He didn't think that he had such great charm, and looking at the young woman's expression, it didn't seem like it was because of his charm. Woo-woo. At this moment, a flash of lightning appeared in the depths of the purple bamboo forest. No, that wasn't lightning. It was a leopard, a lightning leopard. Lightning leopard. Lu Ming's eyes suddenly lit up. He remembered that when he had just joined the Mystic Essence Sword sect and participated in the assessment, he had released a lightning leopard cub and obtained a little lightning leopard blood. Although the lightning leopard in front of him wasn't a cub, it was very young and was quite similar to the lightning leopard cub back then. Woo-woo. The lightning leopard stared at Lu Ming and barked a few times. Then it approached Lu Ming and rubbed against Lu Ming's thigh. You are the one from back then? Lu Ming's eyes lit up. Woo-woo. The lightning leopard nodded. It was really the lightning leopard cub from back then. What a coincidence. If you hadn't saved little lightning once, why would I save you this time? Chapter 195. The young woman's voice was very cold. She continued, if little Sean hadn't recognized you just now, I wouldn't have saved you. This is good too. You saved little Sean once and I saved you once. From now on we don't owe each other anything. Lu Ming was speechless. This woman was too arrogant and cold. At the same time, Lu Ming also understood that the reason why she had saved him was because the lightning leopard had discovered him. No matter what, it's all because you saved me this time. Lu Ming is grateful. I'll take my leave then. Lu Ming cupped his fists and then turned to leave. Wait a minute. Unexpectedly, the young woman called out. Lu Ming turned and said, May I know what's the matter, miss? I heard you call me Xian Yanqing just now. You're Xian Yanqing's friend, right? The young woman asked. Friend? Lu Ming couldn't help but think of his relationship with Xian Yanqing. It was already good enough that Xian Yanqing didn't attack him when she saw him. How could she be his friend? Lu Ming shook his head and said, I've only met Xian Yanqing once. We can't be considered friends. I don't care if you're her friend or not. The next time you see her, help me pass her a message. Tell her not to keep thinking about surpassing me because it's just a waste of time. It's impossible. The young woman said, her voice filled with confidence and a sense of superiority. Seeing this expression, Lu Ming didn't know why, but he felt uncomfortable in his heart. May I know what's the relationship between you and Xianyanqing? If I meet her, I'll definitely pass on the message, Lu Ming said indifferently. His voice also became a little cold. I'm Xianyanjuan. I'm her elder sister, the young woman said. As expected, no wonder they look exactly the same. Lu Ming's heart skipped a beat. But other than their looks, the two sisters were too different in other aspects. All right, the Shadow Wolf Pavilion will definitely send people here. I'm leaving. You should leave too, Xianyanjuan said indifferently. Miss, why don't you leave first? I'll leave after a while, Lu Ming said. Suit yourself, Xianyanjuan said indifferently. From beginning to end, he didn't even look at the two silver wolf assassins' corpses. She turned around and floated away. Her white dress fluttered in the wind, making her look like a fairy from the 9 heavens. Is the item left behind by a 7th-level martial master not even worth mentioning in her eyes? But I won't miss it. Lu Ming walked towards the bodies of the two silver wolf assassins. After devouring their blood essences, he took off their storage rings. With a flash, Lu Ming left the place and headed towards the depths of the forest. In the forest, ancient trees towered into the sky. Lu Ming walked for more than 100 miles. Then, with a thought, he entered the Temple of Paragon and began to refine the blood essence. Not long after, the meridian blood of the two 7th-level martial grandmasters was completely refined by Lu Ming. Lu Ming's cultivation had also reached the mid-7th-level martial grandmaster. After refining the essence blood, Lu Ming started to organize the storage rings he got from the Shadow Wolf Pavilion. There were a total of 8 rings. In the end, he got more than 60 million taels of silver. The silver was just a small number. The most important thing was the spirit crystals. After sorting them out, there were more than 23,000 pieces. Adding the previous ones, Lu Ming had nearly 40,000 spirit crystals. Other than the silver and spirit crystals, the rest were all miscellaneous items. They weren't of much help to Lu Ming. Is this a disguise mask? Suddenly, Lu Ming found a disguise mask among the clothes and miscellaneous items. The Shadow Wolf Pavilion was an assassin organization. They often had to disguise themselves to assassinate people. It was normal for them to have a disguise on them. Lu Ming looked at it carefully and found that the quality of the disguise was very good. It should be made from the skin of some kind of demonic beast. Lu Ming put the disguise on his face. It didn't feel like he was wearing anything because it was very thin. I wonder how effective it is. Let's go out and take a look. Lu Ming went out of the Temple of Paragon and found a pool in the forest. He looked at himself in the pool. Suddenly, a young man in his 20s with a dark face and a rather cold face came into view. What a wonderful disguise. It's like I'm a completely different person. Lu Ming looked at it carefully and found that the disguise was tightly attached to his face. It was impossible to tell that he was wearing a disguise. Then let's change again. With a thought, crackling sounds could be heard from Lu Ming's body. His bones were wriggling and in the end, Lu Ming's height actually increased by a little. His figure also became a little more burly. Lu Ming could only do this when his physical body reached the complete 2nd grade. It could cause slight changes in his physical body. Although the changes weren't big, with the disguise, Lu Ming seemed to be a completely different person. Even the people closest to him wouldn't be able to recognize him. Good. This way, I won't be afraid of the Shadow Wolf Pavilion. Moreover, no one will be able to recognize me when I go to the imperial capital. This will make it easier for me to investigate my father's matter, Lu Ming thought. Then Lu Ming continued to go deep into the mountains. According to his previous plan, he would cultivate as he went to the imperial capital. Now, Lu Ming's cultivation mainly had 3 directions. One was the comprehension of the fire force, the second was the high air steps, and the third was the ancient shield technique. Roar! 7 days later, a Class 6 LV3 demonic beast covered in scales was pierced through the throat by Lu Ming's spear. It roared and fell to the ground. The spirit-devouring bloodline activated and devoured the demonic beast's blood essence. At the same time, the monster core appeared in Lu Ming's hand. The blood essence was used by Lu Ming to upgrade his bloodline grade, while the monster core was used to improve his cultivation. Just like this, he hunted demonic beasts while he went to the imperial capital. 1 month later, A swift wind sparrow flapped its wings in the air and fled frantically. Behind it, Lu Ming stepped on the void and followed closely behind the swift wind sparrow at lightning speed. Swoosh! Swoosh! Lu Ming's body seemed to be weightless as he floated in the air. After flying for a few hundred meters, Lu Ming's body slowly landed. After landing, Lu Ming stepped on the tip of a big tree. Lu Ming's body shot into the sky like an arrow and chased after the swift wind sparrow. The swift wind sparrow screeched in fright and flew desperately. However, no matter what it did, it couldn't get rid of Lu Ming. Haha, Lu Ming laughed. After flying for a few miles, Lu Ming landed on the top of a mountain and sat down cross-legged. After more than a month of hard work, Lu Ming's airborne steps had reached the peak of the 5th level. Just a little bit more and he would be able to enter the 6th level. Just now, when he was chasing after the swift wind sparrow, he suddenly understood something. Wind invisible, yet omnipresent. Wind light erratic, yet fast as lightning. Ugh. Lu Ming closed his eyes and quietly comprehended. The principle of the airborne steps was to use the genuine qi in the body to resonate with the wind and the air to achieve the purpose of riding the wind for a short period of time. Feeling the breeze from the top of the mountain, Lu Ming's face revealed a smile. A green breeze slowly swirled around his body. Lu Ming's body seemed to be as light as a feather, as if he could be blown away by the wind at any time. After an unknown period of time, swish! Lu Ming suddenly opened his eyes. His figure moved and he took a step forward. Chapter 196. With his hands behind his back, Lu Ming walked step by step in the air as if he was walking on flat ground. The 6th stage of the airborne steps, man in martial arts as one. I finally reached it. A faint smile hung on Lu Ming's face. Lu Ming was only a 4th grade martial master. Furthermore, it had not been long since he became a martial master. Yet, he was able to cultivate a profound class superior grade martial arts technique to the realm of man and martial arts as one. If news of this were to spread, it would shock many people. It seems that I am indeed a peerless genius. Lu Ming laughed shamelessly. In the past, with the chanting of scriptures, his cultivation speed was extremely fast. However, now that the chanting of scriptures had disappeared, Lu Ming only battled with himself every day, and his cultivation speed did not decrease. It could be seen that Lu Ming's talent was extremely shocking. Whoosh! Whoosh! Lu Ming walked step by step. His body was like a bolt of lightning crossing the sky. In the blink of an eye, he was a few hundred meters away. However, there was no sign of him descending. Lu Ming continued to walk in the air. His body faintly gave off a light and erratic feeling. Wind force. Is this the wind force? Lu Ming muttered to himself. Previously, when he comprehended the airborne steps and broke through to the airborne steps, he took the opportunity to comprehend a little bit of the wind force. Although it was only a little bit, it was already enough to make Lu Ming go wild with joy. Ordinary people were only qualified to comprehend force when they reached the martial ancestor realm. However, Lu Ming's fire force had already reached the small success stage, and he had even comprehended the second force, wind force. In the future, when he combined wind and fire, his power would definitely be even more shocking. Using the wind force together with the airborne steps, the power of the airborne steps would reach a shocking level. Lu Ming walked in the air for a full 2,000 meters before slowly descending. Originally, even if he cultivated the airborne steps to the 6th stage, it would be considered good to be able to walk 1,000 meters in the air. Caw! Suddenly there was a screech from below. Then, a golden goshawk soared into the sky. It flapped its wings and streaks of golden feathers shot toward Lu Ming like golden divine swords. Class 7 LV3 Demonic Beast, Golden Goshawk. Finally, a decent demonic beast. Lu Ming's eyes flickered. In the next moment, 2 ancient shields appeared in front of Lu Ming. Clang! Clang! The golden feathers landed on the shield, emitting the sound of metal clashing. Sparks flew in all directions in the air. However, the shield in front of Lu Ming did not budge. Kill the power of wind and fire. Lu Ming stabbed out with his spear. The spear contained a blazing aura. At the same time, the wind assisted the fire, causing Lu Ming's spear to completely transform into a flaming spear. The spear broke through all obstacles and pierced into the golden goshawk's chest. The violent energy instantly tore apart the golden goshawk's internal organs. The golden goshawk let out a shriek and died. A single spear killed a Class 7 LV3 demonic beast. The combination of the power of wind and fire is actually so powerful? Lu Ming was pleasantly surprised. Currently, he was only at the entry level of the wind force. He could imagine that if his understanding of the wind force became more profound, it would be even more powerful when combined with the fire force. However, wind and fire complement each other. That's why it was so easy to combine them. If they were two opposite forces, it would not be so easy to combine them. Lu Ming was very clear. Moreover, this was only a preliminary combination. It was not a true combination. Now, I finally have the ability to protect myself when facing a martial ancestor realm martial artist. Lu Ming thought to himself. In the past, when he faced a martial ancestor realm expert, he could not escape even if he used all his strength. However, Lu Ming was slightly more confident now. Next, Lu Ming continued to cultivate as he headed to the Imperial City. Lu Ming was not in a hurry. Therefore, it took Lu Ming another half a month to reach the Imperial City. In front of him there was a huge object. It was boundless and spanned between heaven and earth, as if it had existed since ancient times. As he walked closer, he realized that it was even bigger. The Black City wall was 100 meters high and extended into the sky. It was impossible to see how long the city wall was. At a glance, there seemed to be no end to it. According to legend, the Imperial City of the Burning Sun was 100 miles long in each direction. It was extremely majestic. On top of the city walls, there were rows of armored soldiers standing in rows. Their armor was thick like a forest, and their armor was dense. Every soldier emitted a powerful aura. The Imperial City of the Burning Sun Empire was the most majestic city in the Burning Sun Empire. It was the core of the Burning Sun Imperial family's power. According to legend 800 years ago, the Burning Sun Imperial family was the most powerful force in the Burning Sun Empire. All the major sects had to bow before the Burning Sun Imperial family. At that time, the Burning Sun Imperial family ruled the world. Thousands of cities in the Burning Sun Empire were under the rule of the Burning Sun Empire, and their strength was at its peak. Unfortunately, the Burning Sun Imperial family fell into internal strife and wars were endless. Later, their strength weakened and the sects rose. In particular, the Shifang Sword sect took control of the Imperial family and their strength increased tremendously. The Burning Sun Imperial family would not be able to make a comeback. Now, the people of the Burning Sun Empire only had the 5 major sects in their eyes. The influence of the Imperial family was very weak. Lu Ming walked along the official road and entered the Imperial City. The streets of the Imperial City were very wide. It would not be a problem for 10 carriages to travel side by side. On both sides of the street there were many shops. There were elixir shops, weapon refining pavilions, and so on. It was not something that Firestorm City could compare to. Even Mysterious Sword City could not compare. The streets were bustling with people coming and going. Lu Ming looked around curiously as he walked. The Burning Sun Imperial City is so big. How should I investigate father's news? Lu Ming thought. For a moment he had no idea at all. Hua Qi said that he is in the Imperial City. Maybe he is from the Imperial City. If I can find him and ask him about the situation in the Imperial City and the division of forces, it will be of great help to my next move. But what made Lu Ming dumbfounded was that he did not know how to find Hua Qi. Forget it. The restaurant is the most informative place. Let's go to the restaurant first and find out more information while eating. Lu Ming was planning to look for a restaurant when there was a commotion on the street. Not good. Hua Jie is walking his beast again. What? Let's go. In the streets the crowd was in chaos. The crowd was running around with fear on their faces. Roar! Suddenly a deafening beast roar was heard. Then at the end of the street, a behemoth was running towards them. It was a beast that was 3 meters tall and 6 to 7 meters long. Its body was covered with fiery red scales, and it was emitting a ferocious aura as it ran on the street. Rank 1 Rank 3 Cracked Armor Beast. Lu Ming recognized the beast's origin and level at a glance. Haha, go. Behind the cracked armor beast, there was a group of people riding on horses and shouting loudly. As the cracked armor beast ran, the pedestrians on the street retreated. Even some experts of the martial grandmaster realm and above were shocked and retreated to the side. Mother, where are you? Ling Er is scared. Chapter 197. In the middle of the street, a little girl about 4 or 5 years old was crying. She had pigtails and was holding a stick of candied hawthorn in her hand. The cracked armor beast was charging at the little girl. Linger, someone save my Linger. Not far away, a woman screamed in fear and ran toward the little girl. However, she was obviously not a warrior and could not make it in time. None of the other warriors around her made a move. The warrior's eyes were filled with fear. Roar! The cracked armor beast saw the little girl. It roared and charged toward the little girl with a bloodthirsty look in its eyes. In the blink of an eye, it was close to the little girl. The cracked armor beast opened its bloody mouth and bit at the little girl. Its huge bloody mouth was big enough to swallow the little girl in one bite. Behind it, the people on horseback laughed. Crack armor, enjoy it! A young man in a gold-threaded robe shouted excitedly. At this moment, the little girl had already forgotten to cry. She just stared blankly. Obviously, she was scared stiff. Linger! The woman uttered a shrill cry. Lu Ming frowned. How could they let a beast eat people on the street? Was this still the imperial capital? Just as the cracked armor beast was about to bite the little girl, Lu Ming moved. His body swayed slightly and appeared beside the little girl. He reached out to grab the little girl and floated back. Roar! Seeing that the fat meat in its mouth was snatched away, the cracked armor beast roared and charged toward Lu Ming with a murderous look in its eyes. Get lost! Lu Ming suddenly widened his eyes and shouted. A murderous aura that was even stronger than that of the cracked armor beast erupted. The cracked armor beast roared and its eyes were filled with fear. Like a frightened puppy, it ran back. Who is it? How dare you stop my beast from eating? You're courting death. An angry roar sounded. Thud, 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 7 or 8 horses galloped toward them. The person in the lead was the young man in the gold-threaded robe. The young man's face was slightly pale. His eyes were malicious as he stared coldly at Lu Ming. Roar! The cracked armor beast stood in front of the young man in the gold-threaded roar at Lu Ming. Little girl, are you all right? Lu Ming did not even look at the young man. Instead, he smiled at the little girl in his arms. I'm fine. Thank you, big brother. The little girl said obediently. At this moment, the old woman, Linger, is next to the golden-robed young man. A thin-faced young man shouted coldly. He pulled out a soft whip and whipped the woman's body. Immediately, a bloody mark appeared and blood seeped out, dyeing her clothes red. That little girl is dead for sure. Isn't that so? How could Hua Jie's beast be satisfied with just kowtowing? What a pity for that young man. He's probably just arrived at the imperial capital, yet he actually interfered in this matter. I'm afraid his end will be miserable. He can only blame his bad luck. Whispers could be heard from all around. His voice was very soft, for fear that Hua Jie would hear him. But what kind of cultivation did Lu Ming have? Still, he listened to every single word that was said. But he only smiled. The woman continued to kowtow. On the warhorse, the golden-robed young man, Hua Jie, frowned. His long and narrow eyes flashed with killing intent. I told you to get lost, didn't you hear me? A ferocious look appeared on the skinny young man's face as he lashed out at the woman with the whip again. Lu Ming frowned. He reached out and grabbed the soft whip in his hand. Brat, you've got guts. I didn't look for you, but you still dared to interfere. Now kneel down and slap yourself 100 times. Obediently put down this little girl and then scram. The thin-faced young man pointed at Lu Ming and yelled. Lu Ming's eyes darkened as he coldly stared at the thin-faced young man. Brat, you're still not letting go? Fine, since that's the case, you'll also become the food of my young master's warbeast. The thin-faced young man pulled the whip and realized that it wouldn't budge. He immediately yelled again. Do you usually feed your warbeasts with humans? Lu Ming coldly asked. So what if we do? These lowly people are like ants. To be able to become the food of my young master's warbeast is a blessing that they've cultivated for several lifetimes. The thin-faced young man hooted arrogantly. He didn't put Lu Ming in his eyes at all. What nonsense are you talking about? Hurry up and kill this brat. Can't you see that I'm hungry? At this moment, Wuxia indifferently said. There was a hint of impatience in his voice. The thin-faced young man's expression changed greatly. He looked at Lu Ming ferociously and yelled, "Brat, then I'll send you on your way." After saying this, he jumped down from the warhorse and pounced towards Lu Ming like a goshawk. His momentum was not weak at all. First layer martial grandmaster. Lu Ming's eyes moved. This thin-faced young man was not even 30 years old. It was already not bad for him to be a first-layer martial grandmaster. However, in front of Lu Ming, it was not enough. He flicked the whip in his hand and a strong burst of true qi rushed towards the soft whip. The thin-faced young man was still holding the soft whip in one hand. He suddenly felt a surge of power coming from the soft whip. This power rushed into his palm and almost caused his palm to explode. A terrifying wound appeared on his palm. His hand also let go of the soft whip. Swish! Lu Ming flicked the soft whip like a snake and coiled it around the thin-faced young man's neck. He then flicked it and the thin-faced young man heavily fell to the ground, stirring up a cloud of dust. With one move, he easily made the thin-faced young man, who was a first-layer martial grandmaster, lie on the ground like a dead dog. The sound of people sucking in cold air could be heard from all around. So powerful, finished in one move. What's so powerful about that? He dared to hit one of Wuxia's men. He's finished. It seems like this is his first time in the imperial capital. That's true. Wuxia will definitely not let him go. At this moment, the thin-faced young man let out an ear-piercing scream. Ah, smash! Little bastard, you actually dared to hit me. Young master, you must seek justice for me. Let the cracked armor chew him into pieces. Is that so? If that's the case, then I'll feed you to the demonic beast. Lu Ming's eyes were cold. He flicked the soft whip in his hand and the thin-faced young man's body directly flew towards the cracked armor beast. At the same time, the thin-faced young man's blood splashed into the cracked armor beast's mouth. Stimulated by the blood, the cracked armor beast let out a roar and the bloodthirsty light in its eyes became stronger. Roar! With a roar, it opened its bloody mouth and directly bit towards the thin-faced young man. No, don't. The thin-faced young man was scared out of his wits and crazily screamed, "Ling Er, don't look." Lu Ming blocked the little girl's eyes. Poochie. Chapter 198. Ah! The skinny young man screamed in agony. Roar! The cracked armor beast roared as its bloodlust intensified. Crack armor, stop right there. Wuxia roared from his warhorse. But the cracked armor beast had bitten off an arm. The blood made it go berserk. It ignored Wuxia's words and continued to pounce on the skinny young man. Ah! Help! Help! The skinny young man screamed in agony. He wanted to run away, but he couldn't because of the whip. Lu Ming pulled the whip and the skinny young man flew towards Lu Ming. The cracked armor beast roared and continued to pounce. Lu Ming put down the little girl and stepped forward. He pressed his palm against the cracked armor beast's head. Boom! The cracked armor beast's huge body was pressed to the ground by Lu Ming, causing cracks to appear on the ground. The cracked armor beast roared and struggled, but it was useless. The skinny young man screamed and looked at Lu Ming in confusion. He didn't know why Lu Ming wanted to save him. Don't misunderstand. I don't want to save you. I just want you to feel what it's like to be eaten by a beast. There was not a trace of emotion in his voice. No, please let me go. The skinny young man screamed. Let you go? No, it's a blessing to be the food of your young master's beast. I must fulfill your wish. Lu Ming smiled faintly. The skinny young man had said that himself. No, I was just talking nonsense. Just take it as a fart and let it go. The skinny young man said in a trembling voice. Enough. On the warhorse, Wuxia's expression was extremely gloomy. He looked at Lu Ming and said, Lad, this farce ends here. You have 3 breaths. Within 3 breaths, destroy your own cultivation and kowtow to me 18 times. Then I will let today's matter go. His words shocked everyone. Wuxia was willing to let Lu Ming go? This was rare. It seemed like Wuxia was a little afraid of Lu Ming. Wuxia sat on his warhorse and looked down at Lu Ming from above. In his opinion, He was already doing him a great favor by offering such conditions. However, Lu Ming didn't seem to appreciate it. "Get out of my sight now and I'll let it go," Lu Ming shouted. This caused the surrounding people to be dumbfounded. Huajie. It seemed like he didn't know anything about Huajie's identity. Next to her, the woman hugged Ling Er tightly, trembling in fear. Huajie was stunned for a moment. Then, as if he had heard a hilarious joke, he laughed and said, "You want me to get lost? Ha ha, good. Now you have lost your only chance of survival. Kill him for me." Yes. Behind Huajie, 6 silhouettes jumped off their warhorses. The eyes of the 6 middle-aged men shone brightly. The moment they leaped into the air, their auras exploded. They were all martial grandmasters. The weakest one was a 2nd-layer martial grandmaster. The strongest one was a 3rd-layer martial grandmaster. 3 2nd-layer martial grandmasters and 3 3rd-layer martial grandmasters. The 6 of them were powerful. They wanted to kill Lu Ming in one fell swoop. However, Lu Ming merely glanced at them nonchalantly before he waved his palm. Lu Ming's palm flickered. He had already infused the power of wind into it, making Lu Ming's palm unbelievably fast. Clap, clap, clap. Everyone only heard 6 slaps before they saw the 6 burly men fly back at a speed faster than they had pounced. They were like 6 broken sacks as they heavily fell to the ground. The crowd saw that the left side of each of the 6 men's faces was swollen. A clear handprint could be seen. Hiss, gasps could be heard all around. Many people's eyes almost popped out. They were dumbfounded. 6 experts were sent flying with a single slap. They were all experts of the 2nd or 3rd layer of the martial master realm. Lu Ming looked like he was in his 20s. How could he be so terrifying? Where did this young expert come from? It was too shocking. The skinny young man was stunned. His eyes were filled with despair. Even the cracked armor beast was shocked. The bloodthirsty look in its eyes disappeared and was replaced by fear. Kept retreating. Huajie was also stunned. After a while he reacted and shouted angrily, "Little bastard, you dare to fight back? You're dead. I'm going to chop you up and feed you to the beasts. They wanted to kill me. Can't I fight back?" Lu Ming sneered. His eyes were cold as he walked towards Huajie. How ridiculous. He really didn't know what Huajie was thinking. Did he think that he was better than others and that he could humiliate others and take their lives without them fighting back? How ridiculous. "What do you want?" Huajie's face was extremely gloomy. The killing intent in his eyes was so dense that it couldn't be dispersed. He wanted to tear Lu Ming into pieces. "What do I want? Don't you like to use other people's lives to feed your beasts? I really want to know what kind of expression you will have when you become the food for that beast of yours." Lu Ming walked towards Huajie and said with a faint smile, "How dare you? Don't you know who I am? If you dare to do this, I'll kill your entire family." Huajie shouted, "Who are you?" "It's none of my business." Lu Ming replied calmly, "So you don't know who I am? Let me tell you. I'm the son of the sky-suppressing king. Do you know that my father is the sky-suppressing king? If you kneel down and admit your mistake, you can still live." Huajie continued to shout. His eyes were filled with viciousness. So Lu Ming didn't know who he was. Now that he told him who he was, he believed that Lu Ming would be scared half to death. However, he was disappointed. Lu Ming didn't seem to have any intention of stopping. He didn't even bat an eyelid. It seemed like the name of the sky-suppressing king didn't affect Lu Ming at all. Huajie's expression changed. It was extremely ugly and he was flustered. Huajie gritted his teeth and said, "Fine. Just you wait. I won't let you go. Let's go." "Go? Did I say that you can go?" Lu Ming said calmly. He moved and appeared in front of Huajie. "Kid, don't be so shameless. I swear that if you dare to touch me today, I'll make sure you die a horrible death." Huajie roared. "Is that so?" Lu Ming sneered and said, "All the more reason for me to try." Lu Ming's palm glowed red as he grabbed at Huajie. "Stop, young man. Let me give you a piece of advice. My young master is not someone you can mess with." The 6 burly men rushed over again. One of them roared, "You don't know what you're talking about." Sizzle sizzle, Lu Ming used his finger as a spear and stabbed out. 6 streaks of spear light shot out. Bam bam. The 6 burly men roared and tried their best to resist. However, it was useless. They were sent flying again and coughed up blood. Hua Jie's expression changed. Now no one can stop me. Lu Ming clawed at Hua Jie. Ah! Chapter 199. Ah! Hua Jie struggled madly. However, in Lu Ming's hands he was like a little chick, unable to put up any resistance. Silence. At this moment the air between heaven and earth seemed to have frozen. Everyone stared at Lu Ming in a daze. After knowing Hua Jie's identity, Lu Ming still dared to grab Hua Jie by the throat. Even the elites of the 5 major sects did not have the guts to do so. After all, they were an imperial city and the geniuses of the imperial family. Let go of young master. The 6 burly men ignored their injuries and rushed over. If you don't want him to die, go ahead, Lu Ming said. The 6 burly men stopped in their tracks. Lu Ming moved and appeared in front of the cracked armor beast. Roar! The cracked armor beast seemed to be afraid of Lu Ming and slowly retreated. Lu Ming flicked his finger and a spear radiance pierced through the cracked armor beast's scales, causing blood to flow. Roar! The cracked armor beast was injured and let out an angry roar. Its eyes were red and filled with a murderous aura. Come on! Lu Ming stretched out his hand and brought Hua Jie to the cracked armor beast's mouth. However, the cracked armor beast looked at Hua Jie and hesitated. It seemed to be afraid of Hua Jie. Lu Ming smiled and cut Hua Jie's arm. A stream of blood flew into the cracked armor beast's mouth. Roar! The cracked armor beast went crazy after being injured and having blood in its mouth. It opened its mouth and roared. Its eyes were filled with greed as it stared at Hua Jie. No, don't! Hua Jie screamed at the top of his lungs. He was scared out of his wits and his whole body was trembling. I'm sure many people have been eaten by your demon beasts. Now that your cracked armor beast has swallowed you, you deserve it, Lu Ming said indifferently. Everyone around them was shocked. They stared at the scene with their mouths agape. Lu Ming was too bold. He actually wanted the cracked armor beast to eat Hua Jie. Many people were cheering in their hearts. Hua Jie had committed all kinds of crimes in Imperial City because of his status, but no one dared to say anything. Because his father was Heavenly King Suppressor. Given that he was known as Heaven Suppressing, one could imagine how powerful he was. Most importantly, Heavenly King Suppressor was very close to the Decimo Sword sect. Roar! The splinter armor beast roared and lunged at Hua Jie with its mouth wide open. No! The 6 middle-aged men roared. Ah! Hua Jie let out an incomparably miserable scream. It was incomparably sorrowful and mournful. Hua Jie was so scared that he wet his pants. Lu Ming smiled faintly and retreated slightly, causing the cracked armor beast to miss. Ah! Hua Jie continued to scream. After a while he realized that he was fine and stopped. Then, he realized that the people around him were looking at him strangely. Their faces were all red. It was obvious that they wanted to laugh but didn't dare to. At the same time, a foul stench wafted into Hua Jie's nose. In an instant, his face changed from pale to ashen, and then to red. At this moment he wished he could find a hole to crawl into. Ah, damn it, damn it! Hua Jie screamed madly in his heart. The young lord ordered his beast to devour others. I didn't know that he was so cowardly. Today I've learned something new. Ha ha ha. Lu Ming tossed Hua Jie aside casually. He did not even look at Hua Jie as he laughed and left. In fact, he didn't plan to kill Hua Jie from the beginning. He came to the imperial capital this time to investigate his father. If he killed Hua Jie, Heavenly King Suppressor would definitely go crazy and it would be difficult for him to stay in the imperial capital. Now he just wanted to teach Hua Jie a lesson. The grudge he had with Hua Jie was only between the younger generation. Heavenly King Suppressor wouldn't dare to interfere. At least on the surface he wouldn't. If they were juniors, Lu Ming was not afraid of anyone. Damn it! I swear that I'll kill you no matter who you are. Hua Jie roared in his heart, but he didn't dare to say it out loud. He was afraid that Lu Ming would return. If any of you dare to tell anyone about what happened today, I'll kill his entire family. After Lu Ming walked far away, Hua Jie looked at the surrounding crowd and shouted angrily. Everyone despised him. This Hua Jie was a bully. He pissed his pants in front of Lu Ming. After Lu Ming left, he started to show off again. However, they weren't as bold as Lu Ming and could only nod their heads. Let's go. Hua Jie shouted and left in a hurry. He needed to find a place to change his pants. Lu Ming didn't look for a restaurant in this area. He planned to walk further and find a place to rest. Brother, please wait a moment. After walking for a while, a shout came from behind him. Lu Ming was curious. He stopped and turned around. Behind him, two people were striding towards him. One of them was a girl in her late teens. She was slightly older than Lu Ming and was very beautiful. The other was a young man in his mid-teens. He looked similar to the girl. He had red lips and white teeth. He was very handsome. Lu Ming's brows twitched slightly. He didn't know these two people. Why were they looking for him? Were they Hua Jie's men? Are you looking for me? Lu Ming asked. That's right. I'm Pearl. I admire you for teaching Hua Jie a lesson. That's why I wanted to get to know you. The girl cupped her fists. I'm Ming Peak and I'm Ming Peak. What's your name, brother? It was so satisfying just now. I wanted to fight too, but my sister stopped me. The young man exclaimed. He seemed very lively. The two people's gazes were pure and harmless. They must be telling the truth. Lu Ming pondered for a moment and said, I'm Tianyun. Tianyun was Lu Yuntian's name in reverse. Since he had disguised himself, he naturally had to change his name. So it's Brother Tian. You look young, but your cultivation is so profound that it's admirable. Moreover, you didn't fear Hua Jie and brazenly attacked him. I'm ashamed. Pearl said. You're too polite. It was just a small effort. It's nothing. Lu Ming smiled faintly. Brother Tianyun, you're too humble. I don't have that kind of cultivation. Otherwise, I would have taught that Hua Jie a lesson. Ha ha, he actually pissed his pants just now. That was so fun. I'm sure it'll cause a sensation in Imperial Capital. Ming Peak laughed. He was very good at making connections. He directly called Brother Tianyun. Lu Ming didn't mind. He only smiled. Brother Tian, this should be your first time in Imperial Capital, right? Pearl asked. That's right. Lu Ming nodded. Mingzhu nodded with an as expected expression and continued, Brother Tian, although that Hua Jie is a hedonistic son and is not worth mentioning, his father is the suppressing heavenly king. You have to be careful. Sky suppressing king? Is he strong? Lu Ming asked. To be honest, he had never heard of the sky suppressing king before. Of course he's strong. A hint of fear flashed in Pearl's eyes. He said, the sky-suppressing king is the eldest brother of the current emperor. He has extremely profound cultivation and is in charge of more than half of the military power in the world. He's invincible. It's said that he has a special relationship with the Shifang sword sect. Oh, he's really a big shot. Chapter 200. Even if he knew what kind of person the heaven-suppressing king was, he would still do what he had to do. Seeing Lu Ming's calm expression, Pearl secretly admired him. Big brother Tianyun, are you also here to join the Star General Hall? Ming Peak suddenly asked. Star General Hall? Lu Ming was taken aback, his face filled with confusion. That's right, the Star General Hall is a place created by the imperial family to gather the world's geniuses. Besides the 5 major sects, it is the place with the most geniuses in the Blazing Sun Empire. Ming Peak answered. There's such a place? Lu Ming's expression flickered. Brother Tian, if you're here for business and will leave soon, then it's fine. But if you plan to stay in the imperial capital for a long time, then I suggest you join the Star General Hall. The Star General Hall was created by the previous emperors of the Blazing Sun Empire, and has been in use ever since. As long as you join the Star General Hall, the older generation like the heaven-suppressing king will have no reason to act. At most, only the younger generation will be able to act. Pearl explained. Then, Pearl explained a little about the Star General Hall. It was very simple. It was a place where the imperial family gathered the world's geniuses and trained generals. Thus, it was called the Star General Hall. Many of those who came out of the Star General Hall would become great generals. Lu Ming was tempted. Joining the Star General Hall might be a good choice. Joining the Star General Hall would at least give him a temporary place to stay. Moreover, The Star General Hall was an extremely important place in the imperial capital. He might be able to obtain some important information there. What are the requirements to join the Star General Hall? Lu Ming asked. There's almost no requirement. If there's a requirement, there's only one, and that is talent. As long as you have talent, the Star General Hall will accept you regardless of your identity, background, or cultivation. It doesn't matter if you're the son or daughter of a noble or a commoner. Pearl said. So lenient? Lu Ming was shocked and somewhat incredulous. Big brother Tianyan. Let me tell you something. There's a saying that the Scorching Sun royal family is unwilling to be controlled by the 10 Directions Sword sect, and wants to nurture their own faction. That's why they created the Star General Hall with such low conditions. Ming Peak whispered. Oh. Lu Ming fell into deep thought. It seemed that the relationship between the 10 Directions Sword sect and the imperial family was rather subtle. Brother Tian, Star General Hall will open its doors to recruit a new batch of people every month. The day after tomorrow is Star General Hall's monthly recruitment. Brother Tian, you can go and give it a try. Pearl said. Big brother Tian Yun, let me tell you, my sister is also a member of the Star General Hall. As for me, I will also be joining the Star General Hall the day after tomorrow. That time, let's go together. Ming Peak shouted. All right. Lu Ming nodded. Brother Tian, take care. See you the day after tomorrow. Pearl cupped his fists and left with Ming Peak. After that, Lu Ming continued to wander around. After passing a few streets, he found an inn and checked in. In the blink of an eye, 2 days passed. During these 2 days, everything was calm and peaceful. Nothing much happened. 2 days later, Lu Ming walked out of the inn. The Star General Hall was very famous in the imperial capital. He found out the exact location of the Star General Hall after asking around. Lu Ming headed toward the Star General Hall. The Star General Hall was located in the northernmost part of the imperial capital. There were continuous mountains and numerous halls there, stretching as far as the eye could see. The entrance of the Star General Hall was very majestic. On both sides there were 2 bronze Qilin statues, looking extraordinarily mighty. At the entrance, there were more than 10 burly men standing upright. Their bodies emitted a strong and ferocious aura. Obviously, they were all experts. Furthermore, they were martial grandmasters. There was a table in front of the entrance. A white-haired old man was registering. There were many people coming and going at the entrance. They were all old students of the Star General Hall. Those who joined the Star General Hall were called students. There were also some who, like Lu Ming, were new students who wanted to join the Star General Hall. Big brother Tianyan. Lu Ming heard a shout the moment he arrived. Ming Peak and Pearl walked over. Good morning. Lu Ming greeted them with a smile. Looks like there aren't many people here. Lu Ming swept his gaze and said with a smile, the Star General Hall recruits a new batch of people every month. Therefore, there aren't many people here. On average, there are about 100 people here every month. Pearl explained. Show me your bloodline. At that moment, a young man walked up to the old man. The old man said indifferently. Buzz. A blood-red light flashed on the young man's body and a tall brown bear appeared. 3 blood-red chakras flashed on the brown bear's body. 3rd-grade bloodline, not bad. What's your name? The old man asked. Feng Wei. The young man replied. Then, the old man took out a jade token and inscribed several inscriptions on it. He passed the jade token to the young man and said, all right, this is your identity jade token. From now on, you're a student of the Star General Hall. The young man was overjoyed. He took the jade token and walked into the Star General Hall. Lu Ming was dumbfounded. Isn't this procedure too simple? It's that simple. Pearl smiled. Then, won't there be disciples from the 5 major sects in the Star General Hall? Lu Ming asked curiously. Of course, there will be disciples from the 5 major sections. There are quite a number of them. Some of them specially came to join the Star General Hall. Some are here to cultivate, some are here to gain experience. However, after joining the Star General Hall, there are certain measures in place. Pearl explained. Lu Ming was amazed. One by one, the young men went to register. Lu Ming noticed that as long as one's bloodline was at least 2nd grade, they could join the Star General Hall. Brad, it's you. Suddenly, a voice filled with murderous intent sounded. Lu Ming turned around and could not help but reveal a cold smile at the corners of his mouth. It was Huajia. Huajia had changed into a silver robe with a jade belt around his waist. He stared coldly at Lu Ming. Beside him, there were a few young men following behind him as they walked over. Brat, you dare to stay in the imperial capital and even want to join the Star General Hall? Just as well you won't be leaving today. Huajie said darkly. Haha, isn't this the young prince? What a coincidence. You've changed your pants, why do you still have a stench? Lu Ming's nose twitched as he said with a smile. You're courting death. Huajie's face instantly turned red as he shouted with a sinister expression. This was the greatest hatred in his heart. Although he had warned others not to speak of what happened 2 days ago, there was no such thing as an impenetrable wall. The news spread quickly and in 2 days, it had almost spread throughout the imperial capital. He had become a laughingstock. Huajie hated Lu Ming to the core. Now Lu Ming still dared to mention this matter? Someone in the crowd couldn't help but laugh out loud. So he's the young man from 2 days ago? How dare he treat Huajie like that? Huajie probably hates him to the core. There's going to be a show to watch. Chen Xiong is beside Huajie. That brat is finished. You're tuning in to the Li Mei's Wuxia Whispers YouTube channel. We're so grateful for your support, and don't forget to subscribe to join us on this incredible journey through captivating stories. Your generosity through donations truly makes a world of difference, as it's the primary source of revenue that allows me to expand and enhance this channel for you. Thank you from the bottom of my heart for being a part of this adventure.